What's up, Lonekat?
I'm good, bro. Thank you.
Welcome to Cultureshaala. इसको थोड़ा पीछे कर ले.
Happy to be here. I mean, what with Jblock, what I find is that the people are not scared to do things in repetition. Because I think even to come up with something new, even to come up with something like which is novel, there has to be certain amount of repetition that you keep.
You compound. You keep doing.
Yeah, you keep like the way I call it, chul hota hai na, like you keep itching it, and then finally you. It sounds a bit odd.
It reminds me of the Bakarmax comic strip.
Sumit was one of my mentors in advertising. We worked together. He and his few of his friends, they started this Delhi Comics Kala Samagam, where we would meet and draw comics. And Sumit has been one of my one of my most important mentors. Like just how to break down a brief, how to present a pitch. I mean, that person, if he does...
We saw his Shark Tank wala pitch.
It's just insane. It's so fulfilling and entertaining.
And that guy looks so, like, he's so authentic. He's so Sumit.
Sumit. Yeah, matlab, Sumit in a party is like insane, man. Like, it's like to just spend time with him, it's just wild. It's a wild ride. So yeah, talking about Bakarmax, we kind of went, but shout out to Sumit, man. I really love him.
We want him on the pod.
Yeah.
They're working on India's first animated, adult animated series. No?
Aapki Pujita.
Aapki Pujita.
Yeah.
Like, when we used to watch BoJack or ये सब, back in 17, 18, I always used to think कि फैंस तो इंडिया में क्यों नहीं हो सकता है.
हाँ.
And finally, I'm really happy कि Bakarmax is doing it. Like, many people could have done it. Even Ronnie Screwwala was at one time planning something with Supari Studios, but they canned it for some reason. AIB writers were doing it. But luckily, वो नहीं हुआ. But because Sumit is the perfect guy to do it. Like,
and
it's his story. Like,
and the thing
story
with
का
his...
part है.
And the thing with Sumit is like, he's just so like... He's gonna make it happen, man.
Yeah.
You know...
Even with the writing part of it...
Aapke Pujita had come long time back. Like, it came as a web comic.
Yeah, and I saw it randomly. I was looking for some inspiration.
Yeah.
And I randomly came across Bakarmax ka website. I was like, ye kaun
it's
hai?
Insane. And all his political pieces on Kashmir, on Bhutan, on like Amar Bari, Tomar Bari, Nakshal Bari is another book he wrote. Like, he's also like his writing is also on a very journalistic level. Like, Joe Sacco was, but his is more like on the humorous side. But brilliantly written, man. Like, it broke down a lot of these events for me, like these important political events. Like, when I read it through Sumit's writing, it is so much more accessible. It is so much more palatable, and I can relate. The artwork is insane. The man does it himself. The man, he don't care about aesthetics as anatomy, this that, as long as the message is across, the humor is across. He has just made comic making and comic reading so accessible and cool again. Cool, yeah. वो होता है ना कि like बाहर, like even with something like BoJack या फिर Rick and Morty, the references are so West, like वो जो पूरा context is West. इसलिए वो like हर बार, और उनका इतना evolved society है कि like just for like every time for an adventure they have to go to space. Make something interesting. But I like the way Sumit यहाँ पे Indian context के साथ, Indian problems को humor के साथ, और इतना like grounded और like relevant चीज़ों को बता रहा है, like especially with strips like the government job वाला itch. तो इतनी sarcasm में से तैरी हुई चीज़ें हैं. And also it's the little the little details he has in those like, I can't particularly pinpoint because it's been a while I have read the book, and like, I got to know also so many artists and writers through him. There's one more guy, right, Bakarmax mein, who's like his partner, Adhiraj wrote this book called he made this character called Ud Bilao Manus.
It was insane, dude. Like, I used to wear Ud Bilao ka badge.
Ud Bilao Manos was like a superhero.
It's like a superhero. He is the one who wrote it, and Abhijit Kini was the one who illustrated it. I'm a big fan of Abhijit Kini. Like, I look forward to his artwork in Tinkle. Like, I have also illustrated for Tinkle and Chitra Katha. Yes.
Yeah, I think me and Dalai were talking about it.
Yeah. Because back then, I don't know what happened, what made me drift away from that part of my I just think like music had more meaning for me. But the kind of people I was hanging out with, like there was Sumit, with whom I worked on a daily basis. We had once worked on a pitch where I had drawn a piece for, what is it called this? Doctors Without Borders. MSF, and he won that account. He got them on board. The pitch was one of the most entertaining pitch I have ever come across. Dude, the client is Doctors Without Borders. They are like, wherever there's a crisis, like wherever there is a conflict or something, there are a group of, it's a global organization of doctors who go and volunteer. It's a serious
it's a serious
and
thing.
And in his pitch, it's absolutely brilliant. It was like something to witness, and we won that account. Then I met through him this person called Bhanu Pratap.
Have you watched the series Mad Men? It's like Don doing a pitch and like banda aa jata hai ekdam se.
Yeah, but this time it's different, This time you see a childlike exuberance in this person. He's activated. He's like this, imagine that, He's talking about outer space. He's talking about Doctor Who, And people are like, wow, like, it's brilliant, And then through him I met Bhanu Pratap. Through him I met Shikhant. Through him I met Anupam Arunachalam. They are all comic writers, comic book illustrators, and I read all their books, and I'm a big fan moment, and I could sit with them, talk with them, and had to. So a lot of things that I learned from there, I applied it. I still apply it, even if I am not making comics anymore. But वही मैंने इतना repetition में किया है ना वो चीज़, I can fall back to it. I have that recorded in my muscle memory.
And you also know what it takes to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I do. I still am learning a lot of things, but from these people I learned that it's these people, they draw like crazy, dude. They write on a daily basis. The way they practice their craft is insane.
Sumit is also an example जहाँ पे बंदा is mixing must art with actual writing.
Yes.
And that's a great way to, because Bakarmax ka bhi, even the artworks were like very basic starting mein, but the writing was spot on, insane.
And it's relatable,
yeah.
It's very
you
relatable.
Instantly connect with that. And there is truth to every comic strip, every little box. कुछ तो सच लिखा हुआ है हर एक स्पेस में, which was very refreshing. क्योंकि इवन लाइक हम टिंकल भी पढ़ रहे हैं या उससे पहले जो कन्वेंशनल इंडियन कॉमिक थी, इट वाज मोस्टली लाइक स्टोरीज, चाचा चौधरी वाली या ये सब वाली. फिर टिंकल में और भी आई रिमेम्बर बहुत सारे कैरेक्टर्स आते हैं टिंकल में.
सुपंडी,
हाँ, आई लव्ड सुपंडी.
होजा भी था. And also like I'll give you like another, the guy who leads the business bit, his name is Rachit. He has been my mentor too in when I was in advertising. So Bakarmax is made up of my mentors. It's like family. And Rachit is one person, and who has like literally ungli pakad ke has taken me to like ye aise hota hai, ye aise kar, ye waise kar. Whenever I have fallen short, the feedback has been like to the point ki bro, you're fucking up. Like how to bring about people, and how to like kind of like the same, like how they conducted themselves even in stress, because they were the ones like I have had traumatic experiences with bosses from whom I learned, but they were very abusive. But in this team where there was Rachit and Sumit and everyone, there was a certain kind of thing that we cannot talk in a way that is unsavory. मतलब काम आता जाता रहेगा, ब्रीफ आता जाता रहेगा, कुछ चीज़ें काम करेंगे, कुछ चीज़ें काम नहीं करेंगे. But how we talk to the team as team leaders matters. So I think that learning, because I used to be very traumatized. I would feel that every boss, every team lead ऐसा ही होता है. You know, with my previous experiences that I had worked in small agencies, big agencies, ऐसा type का.
Here, उस time creative spaces में भी the work culture was very like you have to work 20 hours a day. There were no set deadlines.
I mean, it's still like that. I mean, to be very honest, like people often do not realize the mental health crisis advertising people go through. Matlab, they don't realize that there have been cases where people have died on their desks. Like in the advertising world, this girl in Singapore, she worked for 72 hours for a pitch. She died on her desk. There was this 40-year-old ad person in India, this woman. She passed away at the workplace because there was so much work. In advertising, work never gets done. Yeah. You just keep it for tomorrow. So I think a lot of people, a lot of my, you never
get out of that mental state. Your work is done.
And to be very honest, that has happened because I do not blame people, because in advertising, you don't even have the time to sit and communicate what you are going through, because things go up by the minute, things go by up the second. Like I have been with partners, like whoever I have dated, they have not been from the ad world. And they could not understand, and it was hard to make people understand, still is, but I have found some peace in like, कि शायद नहीं समझेंगे, कोई बात नहीं, चलता है. मतलब हर चीज़ हर जन को समझना ज़रूरी नहीं है, ठीक है. So I have my own coping mechanisms, I have my own ways of, and because like in advertising, the existential crisis is immense. It's real because you have no Bible of yours. The brief is the Bible, right? It comes to you that brief will dictate your life for the next 1 week. And तुम कब खा रहे हो, कब जा रहे हो, कब hug रहे हो, कब you are going to sleep, everything will be dictated by that brief, like, and it's very hard to tell anybody. So I think in what they set as a culture was that we can talk to each other about it. That we do not work in isolation. The whole fact that I'm saying that creative people should know the bigger picture is what I learned from these guys. Because they would make it a point कि अगर मर के काम करना ही है, ये फील्ड ही ऐसा है, एटलीस्ट हम थोड़ा एम्पैथी के साथ कर लें.
आपस में तो चलो हो सकता है ना.
So I think that was insane. That I was very foreign to it. Like I was, इससे पहले the places I worked, they had like work politics and this, that. Here was one place where there was no space for it. कि if it is being sensed कि okay, यहाँ पे ना हो रहा है, there are levels of toxicity to it, there will be a conversation about it. I think which was, then I would feel like, why should everything be confronted? Yeah. But it makes sense when you lead a team, That's what I learned apart from the creative bits.
And the mental health wala part, especially in creative spaces, like I remember I was working in Bangalore and like the guy that I was working for, he used to give me like actual, like I developed anxiety us work se when you are working in the startup space.
Yeah.
And but I was doing it because, as you said, ki there is a mission. We are changing things. We are doing all of that.
Yeah.
So how do like people who are especially working in the creative spaces, how do they manage their the overall mental health wala space?
यार वही है मतलब
because there are no boundaries na. Because it's creative, तो तुम्हें लगता है you have to give it your all.
I think one can start with being easy on themselves, because the industry we are in, it thrives in saying to you that you are doing less, no matter how
it's built in.
It's built like that. Like see, I do not want to get into that ism debate, because we are here in this ism right now, in this pool, and I will just talk about how to get by it. We all know what the problem is.
How do you like even work around that?
Yeah, I feel like first, like what I am going through right now. Like I'll all the things I'll say is out of like what I have gone through and what I'm going through. I'm going through crippling existential crisis at this point, you know, where I feel that I have never been passionate about what I do. I have only done it for the money. Now the part of me which wants me to get by is saying that, so what? It's okay. You need money, right? So I think when there are no boundaries, we have to draw them ourselves. Because this industry, the way the world is working right now, this cutthroat shit that is happening, क्या होता है पता है कि तूने सब लगा के काम किया, ठीक है, जब अप्रेजल का टाइम आ गया ना, ऑटोमेटिकली अप्रेजल से पहले ही जब तुम अप्रेजल का फॉर्म भर रहे हो, द वे द फॉर्म इज मेड, द वे द लैंग्वेज ऑफ द फॉर्म इज मेड, इट कंफ्यूजेज यू. इट मेक्स यू थिंक यार क्या मैं ये किया था, बिकॉज it's worded that way. There is no proper appraisal forms for creative people. A creative people can't be asked, how did your artwork, what likes and views did it bring? How did it help this man's business? उसको क्या पता है भाई?
There's no clear
you have made that person sit in a cubicle और तुमको you are just that, like that person is an AI. You have made him churn out creatives. He doesn't know which creative went where. These questions are worded for the business development people.
तुमने क्या किया?
So there is apt appraisal forms for client servicing कि तुमने किस client को retain किया. There is apt perfect appraisal forms for account managers. For business development people तो क्या है? How many pitches have you won and you can name it. एक creative को पता ही नहीं है, वो नंबर का गेम में है ही नहीं.
नंबर के गेम में नहीं है, पैसे के गेम में उतना नहीं है.
हाँ, तो वो the moment he sees the form, he's like shit, ये तो मैंने किया ही नहीं.
प्लस वो सेल्फ लोडिंग और सेल्फ डाउट ऑलरेडी
वो तो ऑलरेडी है, ऑलरेडी उसका घर से उसको वो पंच करके दिया गया है उसको. Like he has faced it in his relationships. He is seeing that his partner left him for someone मस्त है, वो क्यूबिकल में बैठ के
तक ब्लैक स्क्रीन के सामने
1080 by 1080 के कैनवस में खोल के बैठा हुआ है, you know. So I feel that it is meant to make you feel less. The first sentence you see is like you will start thinking shit, what number did my creative shit, कुछ हुआ ही नहीं. So I think before the meeting, when you have internalized that you have done less, तुम जाके ना हाँ पे हाँ मिला के आ जाओगे और जो भी तुमको अप्रेजल दे रहा है तुम लेके आ जाओगे. How creatives can, you know, find ways around it is because like it's firstly like they need to ask questions. You can't just sit with what has been given to you and work on tidbits, because I have worked with teams where I had to like where they would tell me like, even when I have left those companies, my juniors or who were under me in the teams would call me and say, you know, appraisal timely नहीं हुआ है, appraisal उससे नहीं हुआ है, appraisal के नहीं हुआ है.
Same problems.
Yeah, and then I would tell them कि listen, मतलब irrespective of who your immediate manager is, if you're not happy, talk to the founder or the boss, go there. Because he is coming to your office, he is accessible. ऐसा नहीं कि तुम जाके बात नहीं कर सकते. Like to go and ask for what you think is yours is not insubordination. It's about knowing where you stand. And it took me years, man. Like I am 32 and I could have earned way more, because I see a lot of people did. And it's not about where you get your degrees from, where you get your this, like if you are cutthroat about it, because the company is cutthroat. I mean, it can easily replace you.
They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck, but at the same time, they need you more than you need them, to be very honest. So you have to bring that bargain on it. Like you have to have your claims.
And most creatives suck at it.
They suck at it. Somewhere the communication is weak, they will tend to suffer. And now my thing is like, देख pain तो है ही इसमें, ठीक है, ये field ही pain related, मतलब it is a fucking pain in the ass. But to suffer is an option. You can choose to be like, you know what, I want to get this much, man, if I'm doing this. And even if that person says, yeah, but नहीं हो सकता, तुमको पता है कि उनका काम ही है तुमको ये बोलना कि तुम अच्छे हो पर इतना भी अच्छे नहीं हो. You know, and then you say it, okay, then fine, then, you know, chuck it, I'll find someone, you know, I'll find some other company. But वही है ना यार, most times people who come, they come from outside. And they need something or the other to survive. They can't just chuck things, you know.
It's a fear-based thing. No?
It is fear-based. I have lived in fear. I still live in fear. You know, now I fear for more people because I have like Jblock team is it's a family where you think about where we will get evicted. I have never really made any profits from it as such. You know, like I have like I have invested I've invested time, but time, at times money, most times through rent and stuff, and I saw it worth being like the people on whom I invested my time and my love and my care and my money, they fucking deserve it, you know, and I'll do more for them because like the rewards are like fucking killer albums, man. The reward are like killer songs
not just
being made.
about the money.
Yeah. And I have like, we have never really kept like, even if there is some profit coming out of it, it goes into the upkeep of the you know, of the whole space. But when somebody among us goes for a job interview, we make it a point to tell them ki you need to ask. You know, don't just go. And I hope
don't do the same mistakes.
Don't do the same mistakes. Don't you go. You be that person who is difficult to deal with. Be that person. You know, crack it and come. You know, and I hope I have been able to, you know, tell this to the young ones, and I'm glad to see that they know what their worth is. Because to be very honest, at times when because I come from that generation, you know, where I have been told that
to look down and work.
So I come from the generation, I see relationships like that, I see partnerships like that, where my needs are not there as such. But through Jblock, I have learned to realize what my needs are. You know, like it has given me a pocket to kind of really understand that maybe what I need and I really like doing is bringing people together.
So what is the right way to like deal with clients? क्योंकि इंडिया में ये भी होता है ना कि the client is always right. You don't have to say to like कि भाई you are wrong in this or this is what was promised and you're just supposed to like just to get done with it.
This I would say it's how you have the gift of the gab. Jab or gab, how you know what you call it, gab, sorry. So there was a very famous saying that where there was this king and he had a soothsayer, like an astrologer, a kind of dream analyst. Okay? So the king has this dream that he has lost all his teeth. Okay? So he goes to his soothsayer and he says, what does this mean? The soothsayer says, bluntly he says, this means all your relatives will die. Blunt honesty hai wo, theek hai, thing will die.
Truth teller.
The king was like, you know what, fuck you, man, I'll send you to jail, fuck, you're fired. They got another soothsayer. This time the man had the same dream. His tooth fell down. He went to the astrologer and he said ki mera ye ho gaya, kya ho gaya, mujhe batao. He said that, sir, this means you will live longer than your peers. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's how you word it. Yeah. Even if you word the client that he is wrong, nobody likes to be told they are wrong from the get-go. Nobody likes it. Even a person who is wrong, who knows he's wrong, will not be able to digest the fact that he's being told that he's wrong.
And you are being called out.
Our initial reaction to being told that we are wrong is like, fuck you, man.
To be defensive.
To be defensive. You know, very rarely you will hear someone who will want to say कि अच्छा भाई मैं गलत हूँ, क्यों गलत हूँ. That also will come from a place of submission. कि that person is not from your stature or something. He will be like submissive and say कि सर बताइए कहाँ गलती हुआ है मेरा.
And people keep doing changes. They keep like, even when it has been like promised कि there'll only be like 2 rounds of change.
No, so I'm saying where to draw the line is like we keep our heart at home. When we are doing client work, we keep our hearts at home. You bring your minds. There is no need to get attached to that work. I think creatives need to learn how to draw the line. अगर वो बोल रहा है गलत, जो वो बोल रहा है गलत है, पर उसको चाहिए, उसको वो गलत चीज़ ही चाहिए, गलत चीज़ बना के दो. ट्राई करो, बोलो कि देखो ये नहीं होगा. फाइंड वेज अराउंड इट. यू कैन जस्ट गो एंड टेल हिम दैट इट्स रॉन्ग. You go to him with what you think is right. Go with a version of that.
And they will
maybe.
also appreciate, na, ki you're at least putting your effort out.
And if you think it's not working, if they are adamant, the brief is the Bible, bro. Like you do what the brief. If you follow the brief, you are never gonna get wrong. But how the brief is broken down to creatives is where my job comes in. As a
creative
director कि मैं वो brief लेके आया. अब मैं क्लाइंट के साथ बात करूँगा, मैं झाँकूँगा उसके दिमाग में कि उसको क्या चाहिए. आई विल आस्क रेफरेंसेस फ्रॉम हिम. आई विल ट्राई टू मेक the space of mistakes and miscommunications very small, like pre-production में इतना बातें करूँगा उससे. I'll ask so many questions and the client is ready. The client is ready to like ज्ञान पेलने के लिए वो तैयार है. उसका ब्रांड है यार, उसको पता है. उससे ज़्यादा किसी को नहीं पता उसके ब्रांड के बारे में. तो somewhere the client is right. The client is always right. When we are in the service industry, the client is. And if we find that the client is going to go wrong somewhere, which is going to harm him, there are ways we can find it out. Now, there are some clients who are really appreciative of that. And with some, it takes time to reach that level of chemistry. कि वो सुने, थोड़ा ट्रस्ट चाहिए होता है. 6 महीना, 7 महीना, 1 साल लग जाता है कभी कभी. It's an industry where you cannot get attached. It's sad that it's like this. You can't get attached to your comfort zones. You can't get too much attached in grieving something. You have had a breakup, dude. You have to bounce back in 3 days. Otherwise, you lose your job. There is no attachment to anything. I'm sad it's that. I'm really finding ways to, have anchors. It's tough. But I mean, like, hence you build your own communities where you want to stay. Jblock is that. Otherwise, I'll be spit out from everywhere. If I'm having a crisis, there is no space to fall back to. Yeah.
So that is very important because you need a space where you are being creative just for the sake of it. Plus you are in a space where you are creating for yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
So being creative for money versus asli form of expression, how is that different?
यार काफ़ी है. मतलब एक में तो है कि मैं ब्रीफ फॉलो नहीं कर रहा हूँ कोई. एक में है कि आई एम बीइंग माई सेल्फ. आई एम कम्प्लीटली सेल्फ एक्सप्रेसिंग. एंड इफ दैट स्टार्ट्स यील्डिंग मनी, नथिंग लाइक दैट. बट अगेन व्हेन दैट स्टार्ट्स यील्डिंग मनी, इट कम्स फ्रॉम अ फैन बेस. And that fan base would want to stick to that thing because they can't take anything else but you doing those kind of things,
The experimentation part.
हाँ. तो I think यार ये ना वो space it's a मतलब ट्रेंचेस है ये दोनों. एक मनी का, एक पैशन का, और बीच में ना एक नो मैन्स लैंड टाइप का सीन है. वो दैट गैप इज वेयर अ लॉट ऑफ epiphanies come. That's what I feel. It's only a zone that has epiphanies, where in those pockets is where you have your existential crisis, where you have intrusive thoughts about yourself. But then when you do creative work for money, it sets you with some discipline in life.
It's very important.
It's like routine is the only thing you can fall back to when nothing works. When you have nothing to love, you have your routine. When you have nothing to hate, you have your routine. So
and it takes time to understand.
It takes, and I feel creating for money it gives you the insight, it gives you the workflow to make creating for yourself way easier, because you are following a certain like I see the way like how Jblock also took shape was because me and Adam were both like working professionals. We knew how to bring about what
and how to get like shit done
processes.
basically.
You will know it more, like, because you have done all of this and you are doing it consistently, so you know what goes on behind it. The kind of discipline I'm seeing it here, that there are like small glitches that can happen any moment. How do you fill in that without panicking? And so
it's all about repetition, right?
Repetition, man.
You keep doing it.
Yeah.
Time tak.
Yeah, like my economics teacher in class 12 used to tell me that you have to make peace with doing things in repetition, because that's the only thing that you can fall back to after a point. And you know what? Back then I was like fuck off. You're a dumbass. I don't need to do it. Now I realize that when there is nothing working out for you, it is just the repetition of getting up, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, and feeding my cat. Just to start the day.
Simple things, yeah.
Just the simple things. Because at times it's like, and even if you're getting therapy or not, what grounds you, what brings about some semblance of normalcy is these repetitions. I feel like, and it's daily,
you
man.
get into a rhythm.
Yeah, and matlab flow state to usi se aata hai. Like I feel even self-care for me, even anything for me is it's so much to do with practice. So much of even self-care is practice. So much of even like writing song, all of it. Like anything for that matter. Being alive. It's like you get up. The first thing you are like breathing in repetition. Like when this fitness instructor told me that you need to breathe right, you breathe wrong. I said, how? Why? Fuck, I breathe people. Exhale, inhale. No, there is.
It's like a very yoga teacher.
There is levels to it, and you need to practice. Even breathing is things to be done in repetition. And bro, it's I'm still learning. I'm still learning to cope with this repetition that I need to do on a daily basis.
And especially the way Jblock works, Jblock का process भी थोड़ा वैसे ही रहा है ना, कि it's not about कि you make the best track अभी using like you put in like 6 महीने 1 साल to make one track.
No, it's not like that.
Doing repetition.
Yes, it's a process. It's a process.
And उसके बीच में आ जाएगा. That's a very advertising or a very process-oriented, creative way of doing.
Yeah, things. and you need that churning. You need that quantity over quality,
especially
at times.
In the beginning.
Yeah, because with that quantity, you reach a point where you feel like, you know what, fuck it. This is something I've reached. Like when you look at rappers like Future, you look at rappers like even for that matter Kanye West, man, the body of work is insane. The amount of and like I'm sure Kanye has 1,000 songs which he never even released to reach where he is right now, which we like Anderson .Paak was called Breezy Lovejoy when he was a street musician, and he has albums. He has 5, 6, 7, 8 albums with his band. But we know him now as Anderson .Paak, which is maybe like God knows is maybe his third name, pseudonym, So I just feel like I used to believe that things have to be spick and span when it I have been proven wrong. I think that you have to have that quantity to reach that quality, because it's a constant process of self-discovery with every track you make, no matter how much rough it is, even if it is a demo, even if it is something that will never see the light of day. Yeah.
So you were in the creative space, you were working in advertising. Music में कैसे एकदम से सीन आया?
यार music में मैं हमेशा था. ठीक है, my mom taught me music.
Okay.
ठीक है, and
is she like a trained?
मतलब she would I think to some extent yes, she learnt it. She would play the harmonium, and we would sing, and she would always like music has always like music and poetry has always been in my family. My father writes, my mom sings, my sister does everything. Like she writes, she's a prolific writer. She's also a published writer.
उसने बहुत books दी होंगे तेरे को पढ़ने के लिए.
हाँ, मतलब my initial love for comics and any kind of sequential art came from my sister. Her role has been like I cannot speak about my skills without naming my sister, because I think that's what sisters do. They get wings, they fly, and then they carry you with them. Like, I don't know about brothers because I have never had an elder brother, but my sister made sure that I do not make the choices that would harm me, because she's very protective about me. And never in a way that it was stifling. There was always learning, she would be like, don't come to Kolkata, go to Delhi. It was like, Delhi will match your energy, you will be doing better there. And I followed her, and I do not regret it one bit. So the place where I come from is a rut. Dreams die there. A lot of people die in mediocrity, even though they have talents, even though they have worked hard on certain skill sets. It never sees the
light of the day.
Yeah, I'm from the inner cities of Guwahati where development never reached. I went there after 20 years also, it's the same. There are floods, there will be flood every year, it'll come into your house. It's the same rut every so to come out of there.
It's very survival based.
It has always been survival based. I have never really learned how to thrive.
Yeah.
When I thrive, I get nervous. Things might go wrong.
It feels weird.
Yeah, it feels weird. So when my sister made it out, she would tell me about about collectives, about this and that, about music, about everything. And music, my mother was there. My mother used to sing Rabindra Sangeet because I'm Bengali. Bengali ka to hoy.
That's how they start.
Like that.
Every Bengali ever.
That Rabindranath hangover. So, wahi hua, but I slowly went into more Western music, more pop music. And then I was in boarding school where it was
Which school?
a convent. It was in Darjeeling called St. Anthony's.
Oh.
So even that was a story. I didn't know I was being taken. Like my sister was sent to boarding school when she was 4 years old. And I was sent when I was in my second standard. And I know why my father sent us there, because there was really no way our thought process could evolve in the places where we were.
In Guwahati.
And boarding schools were expensive, and he somehow afforded it somehow, he sent us there. And there is where my mind was open to like gospel music. And that's where I picked up things, I picked up a bit of guitar, I picked up a bit of drums, and I could, sing to a tempo and everything. And yeah, my initial foray into music was gospel rock. It was, the band Scorpions.
Yeah.
Wind of Change and all that shit, And then when I came back to Guwahati, there was the rock scene. There was rock scene, there was metal scene, there was
I remember.
Yeah, like
all
Iron
of the best
Maiden
bands were from Guwahati, from the Northeast.
Yeah, and the metal bands, they would listen to 3 metal bands: Iron Maiden, Metallica,
Everyone had
Megadeth.
that t-shirt, the black
Just these 3
t-shirt.
bands: Metallica, Iron Maiden, Megadeth. At least when I was there, and the ones who are loyalists of Metallica, they didn't like Megadeth. It's like something you have to hate if you're a Metallica fan, because like Metallica is more commercial, Megadeth is more raw and underground. Yeah, but Guwahati, then I realize now that why it was so rock dominated, because it has got a lot to do with how the politics of that place evolved. Like there has been a huge there has been this sentiment of identities being erased from certain influx from like Bangladesh, Myanmar. Like the local people would feel that they are being eclipsed. They are, there. So it found its aggression and release in metal music. It found that so there were bands like which would like from Shillong, there was this band called Plagued Throat, and they would be like completely like, and back then even I was crazy about it because
there was this culture of like following these bands.
Yeah,
they had their own following.
But what I felt was that a lot of it was coming from a place where there like a lot of people were not aware of why have they chosen this sound, but like, and nor was I. But when I look back at it, I realized so much of it had got to do with how the youth felt stuck. Like even there were a few Manipuri bands, and like the state of Manipur back then, like it's one state which is still under AFSPA, right? Like, but we only speak of Kashmir. Manipur has faced violence at the hands of armed forces since a long time. It's been time immemorial. We don't know about it. And one of the biggest protest was there where a lot of local women were being picked up and raped and killed by the Indian Army, the Assam Rifles there. And so they got tired of it, and there were around 100 mothers of aged women. They stripped naked and they carried a huge cloth ka sheet, and they reached the HQ of Assam Rifles saying that Assam Rifles rape us. So it has been one of the most iconic and the most poignant, protests in South Asia, for me at least, because I was a kid back then, and those images of those protests were horrifying. This kind of agitation where there is a certain anti-establishment, anti-authority voice coming
especially
from.
That's why young people like rock music.
Yeah, and also it's there in hip hop as well.
Exactly.
It is violent. It has certain, like, the language at times what a non-hip hop head will say that it's sexist, but it's coming from spaces that are like that.
That are sexist, huh?
Like, it is coming from environment. Like an artist, मतलब उसका तो वही भाषा होगा ना यार.
If you're living in the projects, तो
वही तो आएगा ना. मतलब मैं थोड़ी, I can't use big words as shit, right? So for the longest time, I was not a big fan of metal rock or something like that, and I would look at it with a lot of disdain because I was more into like pop, hip hop, R&B. But as I grew up, as I reached college and I studied history, I opened myself to what actually.
You read about these things, right?
No, I didn't read about these things. I read my books only. I met people. I met a lot of Manipuris in Delhi. I actually gelled in more with my people of my state in Delhi. And then I realized that even I was biased in a lot of ways, like I was biased in a lot of ways where I didn't see where their sound was coming from. And I could now draw parallels. I could make it cohesive in my mind. And then I stopped being critical of a genre. I can be critical of certain humans who are in that genre. Maybe I don't look eye to eye with them. Maybe they are assholes. But I will not discount the genre. There is a reason why it exists. And there is a reason why it's being used as a channel.
But it's important.
It's important, So I will never I will never be dismissive anymore, More than music, I was exposed to a lot of poetry. So since a kid, I would try to write my own. I would never want to cover songs.
Yeah.
But I covered songs too just because I wanted to sound sexy. Like some artists, like I would be a big fan of like George Michael Douglas. Shit, insane. I'm talking about Fatal Attraction.
Especially the texture part of it.
Texture part, and I also love who George Michael was as a person. I really love that man. Then I used to hear a lot of Backstreet Boys, a lot of Westlife, NSYNC, and like many. And then there was like Shania Twain and all these people, and like there was, and from rock there was like, as I grew up, rock was mainly when I was in my 11, 12. There was like System of a Down. There was like where I'm like, and then when I came to college, then I realized I read the politics behind a lot of these acts, a lot of songs from Megadeth, that it came from a lot of like, of like American insecurity, And then hip hop has always been there, man. Like when you are doing R&B and all, hip hop will stay. Rap was there mostly when I was in my school, when I was in boarding school. Like Darjeeling has it's Gorkhaland, right?
Yeah.
You have heard of Nep hop?
No.
The whole genre of Nepali hip hop is called Nep hop, and it's way evolved.
I know some of the artists who are from. There's one artist who is very famous.
There was one, like, rest in peace, Yama Buddha was there one, but he passed away. And he was revered in the Nepali diaspora, and there is a unique poet now. There is Sakar Lil Buddha. They are the ones like the rap battles, the writing is elite, and they can rap in like English. in Nepali, and it's insane. It's a great counter movement there too. Matlab, it's a presence. It's a big presence. So there used to be kids who I was in my 3rd standard, and there are kids freestyling by knocking the by beating the bench. They're freestyling. They're free. There is battle rap happening in class 3-4 standard. So there I was exposed to, like, of course, Eminem. I was exposed to 50. I was exposed to Run DMC. I was exposed to A Tribe Called Quest by my seniors. जो class 8-9 में थोड़ा बड़ा भैया बनते हैं, like मेरे भैया.
But you still, like, especially from the Northeast wala scene, you get a lot of like a bunch of great vocalists.
Yeah.
Especially with Western textures, जो North India या even बाकी जगहों पे उतना नहीं मिलता है.
Yeah.
Like you get like singers who are like ready.
Yeah.
They've listened to all the greats.
Yeah,
practiced.
And any beat, rap beat, hip hop beat, metal. I mean, there was one band which was like a rap rock band, like Limp Bizkit and Korn. It was called Boomerang. Insane sounds, man. Back then it was way ahead of its time. Like, even if you see the hip hop scene there also, you will see this guy called Banjop from Meghalaya. I am not sure if I am pronouncing his name right. I'm sorry if I am mispronouncing his name. Like, there is Stunna is from Guwahati in Shillong.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for so long, and I mean, like, he has placements.
I think I was
international.
talking about this guy only, huh?
Stunna Beats.
Yeah, Stunna Beat. He's pretty famous.
And like he again, that guy made the genre accessible there, local artists. He's there to bring out the local artists, and like, it's insane. Matlab, it's the music scene. Like, there is this band called Silver Tears, and their vocalist, I've forgotten the name, I'm stuck with names. Something Pradhan. Voice is insane. The high notes he takes is crazy, man. Like,
and they're using like proper Western wala. They can shift head voice, chest voice.
Completely. They can just manipulate their voices to any like setting. If it's the same song in an acoustic setting, they kill it. Same song on a highly electric setting, they fucking go all in. They look good. They know how to do. They know what to do on stage.
Rock act, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I remember back in 14, 15, when we were like a band. Everyone has this band in college, and we used to compete in the Battle of Bands wala section. And our goal was ki are hame like, because band wala space was very English oriented.
I mean, one of the best blues band is in Shillong. I mean, it's Soulmate. Exactly. It's Soulmate.
Exactly.
I mean, it's insane. Like, they are internationally known. Like, the vocalist Tipriti. She's well known. Matlab, she's like one of the queens of blues, and there are so less people doing blues. If you see right now, it's almost like a passe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you used to meet these people in like college ke fest mein. Battle of Bands.
Yeah, Battle of Bands. Like IIT had this thing called the Alcharinga. Like IIT Guwahati.
Oh yeah.
What was it? Like their fest used to be called Alcharinga, and they would constantly call this local. And Soulmate is not local. Soulmate is international. But they're based in Shillong. It's insane. The gigs are a riot, man. Like, you see the kind of involvement, and you are in awe, because you are like, they are giants, and they have been around for so long. There is not a sign of complacence. They perform the same way like they used to do on their initial days. It's as brilliant and raw. Yeah.
But what do you think happened to the entire rock space? Not just in India, but like even world maybe. You can see rock music dying.
Nee, you know what? There is actually a resurrection happening. यार मेरे को as such नहीं पता. Like, I feel India में एक Rock Street Journal बोल के एक magazine आता था, और एक उसी का जो founder था, again, rest in peace, Papa Sehgal, Amit Sehgal was his name. I'm stuck with names, I'm sorry. I'll just call him Papa Sehgal, because he used to be the father of rock in India. So he had started the magazine, and the magazine used to manage this concert called the Great Indian Rock, GIR. I don't know if you're aware of it.
No.
उसमें बाहर के एक्ट्स आते थे. ओपेट आया था, टेक्सचर्स आए थे. यस.
कहाँ पे?
कार्निवल दिल्ली में ब्रो.
दिल्ली में?
हाँ, कार्निवल
दिल्ली में.
कार्निवल
आया था. I remember watching कार्निवल का कुछ तो in IIT चेन्नई.
Yeah. तो कार्निवल आया था. They had gotten Opeth as well. I don't know if Delhi or in Bombay or in Bangalore, wherever, but it was Great Indian Rock. And I think after his passing, he died. He passed away. It was a tragic drowning incident. And uske baad, I just saw it kind of somewhere ebb away, you know. But abhi last, I think, ek Indian rock ka ek wo hua tha where Avial, all the heavyweights had come. And, you know, I was very happy to see that because I feel genres should coexist.
Yeah.
Because you never know when they meet and what comes out, what game-changing shit comes out. Like when I was doing hip-hop, like I was always hip-hop even in school. I used to be made fun of by the rockheads. And
you were like, apna time aayega.
Yeah, and they would be like, your choice of music sucks. And I would be like, okay, maybe to you it sucks. But I would never tell them that their music sucks.
Yeah. Even I remember someone like Cryman, he was into like rap back then.
Yeah.
And back then we only had like, especially like regular Indian kids, we only had like Eminem ka exposure and all of that.
Yeah.
Which was sounding cool, but still pop.
Yeah, I mean,
not like hardcore rap.
Yeah.
So you didn't know, and there were no Indian acts to like who were in the rap scene.
Yeah, there was hardly any. I mean, I don't remember back then. It's only in it's only in Delhi in 2015-16 where I was told that there is a rap scene here that is actually there. That's all like there was a Honey Singh there. Usse pehle I was listening to
Apache Indian,
and there was like, come on, like there was Mr.
Obviously, like other than Baba Saigal was the one to do it.
And then there was like Kali Dhanali. So I've forgotten his name. I'm so sorry. The Pakistani
Bohemia.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Bohemias, and because after a point it was the only act that was there, and it had that
serious
impact.
act.
Yeah. And but I would listen to a lot of Bangladeshi rappers. There is one Bangladeshi rapper called Lal. Lal has this song called Lal Ekla Ek Show, which means Lal alone is 100. So I mean, it would be fun to hear someone rap about girls, money and dream in Bengali. I never thought that was possible, you know.
Bengali sounds like so pavam. And then you hear... I saw Jblock ka gig last wala in Rasta. I think this is back in December 15th, I guess.
Yeah.
You guys did a gig and there was Siege also.
Yeah.
And it was me and Dalai in the crowd. And when it was Jblock performing, and when Lonekat goes on stage, he starts rapping in English versus someone like maybe like a Lil Kabir ya koi bhi aur aayega who's doing it in Hindi. You instantly see the change of energies. Like words समझ नहीं आ रहे हैं. Do you think English में rap करना, and you are that rapper अभी तो इस space में, you're the only guy who is doing it, especially underground, whatever, Delhi उसमें. So do you think that is limiting अभी? And me and Dalai, we were discussing it कि Lonekat इतना फाड़ कर रहा है, but like जनता they still want whatever. There's no separate space उतना बड़ा for that.
हाँ, मतलब it has occurred. It has occurred to me, but that's the thing, no? When I started doing music, I never saw it as something that would bring me listeners.
It's not about them.
Yeah, मतलब जो relate कर पाएगा करेगा. मेरा ये self expression है, you know. I have things to say. Most times when I write songs, I just have to get things off my chest. So what I started doing was that I started focusing on the beats being bouncy. Then nobody really gives a fuck about the
it has to sound
lyrics anyways. Even if it is a Hindi rapper rapping who is very lyrical, and you will see the crowd's energy change. They will jump, they will go off energies when the beat bangs, and there are certain words certain lehza jo hota hai, that brings in the crowd, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, matlab my thing was with English is that I'm just so comfortable with that language because like I think in it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have not been able to decolonize myself. But someone, but someone who says I only rap in Hindi, I feel even that person is not decolonized, because even Hindi is a very colonizing language. We are trying to make this one country, one language shit, which is also kind of fucked. But like my thing is, if it goes through, if my lyrics is being understood by somebody, anyone who comes and tells me, bro, I like your music, it really affects me, I like it, I'm happy with it. But most times I just want to be on stage with my people and just perform, that's all, you know.
तो वो thought कभी दिमाग में आता है कि maybe I can try doing it in Hindi to get more, just again
आया
get
है,
these thoughts.
मतलब आया है, but most है कि I would rather do it in Bengali. Yeah,
that would be interesting.
So I know how to speak 4 languages: Hindi, English, Bengali and Assamese. And when I was studying in Darjeeling, I could speak and also understand Nepali, but which I have forgotten right now because I'm not surrounded. Like you need to be surrounded in that geography also. So I mean, I can rap in all 4, but what gives me fulfillment is English, because I'm being able to. I make a song, I move on.
Yeah.
That's how it has been, and I want to be on the next beat. I want to see what Kabir is making, if I can sit on it. So yeah, there are a lot of things that I've worked on now, so that it becomes a bit more palatable.
Some of your tracks, like with your work with Faizan also, वो कहीं ना कहीं बहुत ही मस्त जेल करता है साथ में.
हाँ.
You need that.
Yeah.
पहले बॉलीवुड में होता था कि like the hook was in Hindi, everything was in Hindi.
Which make yo lava this, and there is no cohesion.
And you were like कि भाई skip करो, आगे जाना है मेरे को, वापस hook.
Placeholder rap हो जाता था ना वो. Yeah. But वही है ना कि here we follow a concept. Like when one person writes, we just don't. I sit and I ask. We sit and we ask, what are you writing about? Where is it coming from?
You're still following a theme, a cohesive.
Yeah. And it only comes from a place of empathy, where we are not just seeing what he's writing, we also see where it is coming from. We match 2 and 2. We're like, oh, wow, you know what? Shit. And most times, pata hai kya hai? We don't even need to discuss. It just sits. Like he wrote something about blah, blah, blah. Or main likh raha hu. We are like, oh shit, it just makes sense. And I think that cohesion comes because we are living together. These thoughts have occurred to me, but then the process of making, when I'm in the process, these noises go. Then it's just about making the track. And
plus, especially when you're collaborating with other creative forces, you need to bring your most authentic wala space out. Huh?
That's me. That's English me. Yeah. Like if I'm trying to be Bengali or Hindi, that wouldn't be me. I would want to sound maybe like my English, like my English teacher would say, that there is no rules to poetry.
Yeah.
You can go ham. But when I will start writing in Hindi, I'll give a fuck about Striling hai kya, pulling hai. Because like that's how I've seen Hindi as, like, you know, full of grammars.
Full of grammars. It's like a foreign whatever.
Yeah, it's tough. Like for me, it's like it's a language I have spent time gathering, you know. So English is something that has it just, I read so much in English. I've written so much in English. I'm being able to.
So as a kid, myself. Were you like a reader, like a voracious?
Not a voracious, but I was a voracious listener. Because I had a stammering issue. If you notice, I still do. I'm still beech mein I stutter, because I normally don't talk about it. Especially on podcasts and shit. It's because like I had a very bad fever as a kid, and it had reached my like it had like caused a lot of neurological issues, that kind of brain, like I don't know, it must have been some inflammation of the brain. So it affected my speech. So for the longest time I would not talk, and then it came slowly, where like speaking was not an option for most, because the world is quick.
Yeah.
If you are not being able to convey what you're feeling then and there, people walk off.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of time I would just sit and listen. And I think that kind of gave me this insight into sound, speech and language mainly is because so much of it is listening, not speaking.
True. That's so true.
Yeah, so that gave me the whole of sound listening, where and I'm listening to someone, like even if my mind is somewhere else, I can still like, and if you stop me and say ki bol mein kya bol raha tha, I'll be able to tell it. So that one was, so it just worked. When one sense goes down, the other sensory
goes up,
faculties only go up.
Even with movies, with watching podcasts, there is a part where you're just listening.
Yeah. So reading I did as a kid. Yes, I have read a lot. Thanks to my sister. I read a lot in college too. But अभी ना यार attention span ही घट गया इतना.
अब तो भाई
नहीं होता है पढ़ना. And I cannot read कि 3 पेज पढ़ा रख दिया. मैं बैठा मैं खत्म करेगा. Guilt भी नहीं होता है. मैं तो I will not be able to indulge. Like hence like I don't watch shows because if I start watching shows, bro,
I cannot. And this has been happening, I think, since 21, where I've just like stopped watching shows.
I watched Breaking Bad only because जब सब निकल गया ना तब देखा मैंने. और ऐसे देखा कि मैं खाते खाते देख रहा हूँ, नहाते नहाते सामने ऐसे रख के I'm like watching it.
Becomes a task after a point कि भाई तुम अपना सब कुछ छोड़ के देखो. But have you like read philosophy या ऐसा कुछ तो?
A bit here and there. There is this comics on philosophy, logic and philosophy called Logicomics. So it talks about all the famous philosophers of the yesteryears, Bertrand Russell, Wittgenstein, and big names. I learned a lot from comics. I would read. So a lot of my philosophy I have learned from like from graphic novels. Philosophy, I have learned more from like life. I would say like from the place where I belong and the place where survival is very important. I think उसमें बहुत first hand philosophical epiphanies होते हैं आपको. Thriving में उतना नहीं होता because you don't read into things, but when you are surviving, you are so.
What does this mean?
What does this mean? And you are so aware of your environment because you are on the edge, and I think that is the time, the kind of learnings that come. Like, I wish it wasn't that. I wish I was able to explore myself more, and not being able to just like sit and think of survival. But what I learned out of it was these little philosophies, which you do not need to read a book to get.
A book for it.
Yeah, and you can learn it. I mean, क्या ही करोगे? मतलब तुम या win or lose, तो अगर मैं lose बोल के अगर गया, I am a failure. Because I have lost so many times. I can only call that as learnings.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think those learnings have been philosophies for me. Most things that I have just picked up from like, and at present my philosophy is just to find peace in routine and in repetition. Rest I feel will fall in place. I don't know.
I remember this story that you had posted about like how is it different from being in your 20s when you are in your 30s. You are more centered. What was that all about? Because right now I'm 28 and I'm dreading like reaching that 30 wala mark.
Yeah, I'm just saying like when you reach your 30s, what I felt with me is that I learned the art of slowing down. Because survival makes you want to stay a step ahead. Survival makes you want to, because it's competitive. You have to compete to survive. What I've learned right now is that to slowing down. It's the art of slowing down, that you got to slow down and at times look how far you've come and count your blessings. And because it's a marathon, dude, right? Like when you are in your 30s, you realize it ain't a race. मतलब like after a point तुमने एक करके अपना career तो बना लिया. But life is so much more. There is so much more to accept. There is so much more to think and be like, you know what, I haven't been able to do this, but you know what, it's all right. So
to make peace with.
Like I feel when you start perfecting acceptance, I think that's maturity. And that's also practice, daily repetition, with so yeah, matlab wo jo 2030s, I don't exactly remember what it was, what I had posted, but yeah, I was just saying that what are the things that I have stopped doing in my 30s. I'm not impulsive. I've never been a very impulsive person. Everything that I do is measured and calculated. Because if I don't, I might face down first, and I can't do that because there are things and people I provide for back home, whatever. We all do at some point. So yeah, I was just saying that I find a bit nervous around impulsive people because I have never been impulsive, and when you reach your 30s, you think things through. That is one thing that comes in. Nothing really much changes when you are 28 and you're 30.
You failed like multiple times, or you are able to see the outcome part of it कि भाई ये इस direction में जाके eventually ये होता है, इस direction में ये होता है.
हाँ, मतलब
already मत करो.
हाँ, मतलब I know what you will suffer from. You can
almost feel it.
Yeah, like when I see a youngin going towards something, I know what he's gonna suffer next. And there are times,
pitfalls.
Yeah, and there are some times, you only learn through suffering. You only you grow around grief, you grow around woe, and all you can do as a peer is make space for that person, so that person can never feel the need to be something they aren't. So because thanks to my peers, they gave me that space. Because there is no knight in shining armor to come and help you. There never will be. But there will be a few angels that come and give you that space. That what, you can make mistakes here. I won't judge you. You can be a reckless mess. I'm here. Philosophically, I have learned, I am trying to perfect the art of slowing down at this point. And trying to take in my environment. Try to take in, because my body is speaking something. The environment around me is speaking something. It's saying something. So I want to do that sound listening, hence I have to be centered. Because like last year I had fallen sick because it took a toll on me and I was not checking up on my health. And I told this guy things to the block. I said, you can't miss breakfast, man. It has to start from something as basic as that. We can't starve. Just because we are working. We do not have to be a tortured artist. We do not. There is no need to be one. Let's come out of that fucking stereotype right now. Let's be thriving artists who are surviving, yes, but that's just not what we do all the time. So yeah, I'm great that there are people around me who really resonate with that. Yeah, with that philosophy. अभी तो घर पे जिम विम लग गया है. अभी सब वर्कआउट कर रहे हैं. हाँ, people are working out. People are taking care of their well-being, and
it almost sounds like a cult now.
No, it's more than somewhere maybe every organization is one.
It's a cult, especially.
And I like the fact that there is space for the where we are taking care of each other's upkeep, where we are saying that, bro, this is after a point, what, you need to take care of your health a little bit, because after a point, bro, अगर तू देखे ना, तू जितना बड़ा होता रहेगा, as you grow older, there will be less people to tell you these things, to call you out, to hold you accountable. And in my philosophy, I feel that's the only anchor a man needs after a point. For someone to tell them they are wrong. Otherwise, we are unhinged motherfuckers.
Call out on their bullshit.
Yeah. It is better to be called out by your own people than being called out somewhere else, and it's embarrassing as fuck, अगर तुमको घर में जो है, it's the fucking dojo. Like, it's the gym. Here we know what our weaknesses are. And we tell each other, you can work on this, you can work on that. At least that's what I see even partnerships as. मतलब वही है, मतलब मैंने कभी age को I have never been an ageist person. I have never seen reaching 30s being a
thing. Huh?
Yeah, I think that's I don't want to, it's again, it's the result of a ism. Birthdays, years going by, you have to do this, New Year resolution, birthday resolution. This target-based things in life are it is futile.
You see these Instagram posts, by the time you hit 30, you need to be like a millionaire.
No,
you need to have like...
It is so reductive of what aging actually is. Aging is holistic, man. I am loving that I'm growing older because I'm understanding things. I'm getting an insight.
You're getting more data to work with.
Yeah, and like I'm just getting insights. I can tell someone, do this, because if you do this, this might happen. and also see that person make their own path, man. You know, I think aging is a very holistic process if you do not get swayed by what is the popular opinion about aging. It's fine, you know, like you only learn with it. Like what I was when I was 28 and the kind of thought process I was in and the kind of thought process right now I am in, it's vast evolution, and I'm happy that I aged this way, that there were people to also learn from. And a lot of this holistic work comes also seeing the young ones work, you know, see their process. And I think that is what Jblock taught me, because like, to be very honest, I have no sound without Jblock. There is nothing that I have profited from it which you can put in numbers. I have profited way more. Like holistically, philosophically, spiritually, psychologically, and work-wise. And it's not a far-fetch. Like it don't matter who leads this thing. The main thing is to keep it afloat. And everybody does it. There is no leader of it. Like इसका कोई पापा नहीं है यार. मतलब ये जो एक जो हम लोग एक पेट्रियार्कल मेंटालिटी से आते हैं कि एक चीज का एक लीडर है, नहीं है. चेंज होता रहता है. कभी कोई एक प्रोजेक्ट आता है तो वो लीड करेगा, ये आता है तो कभी
organizations are made, even with someone like what Arunab did with TVF. These guys, there was no one leader.
If I am not there, Jblock won't stop, man, and it doesn't have to be. So and that is what me and Adam wanted to build, that it's an ecosystem which thrives and survives even if we aren't in the mix. There are people more than capable of us to take it back, you know, to take it there with 10 times better work ethic. Like look at Kabir, look at Faizan, look at Waris, fucking maniac. They're crazy people, man. Like they are like beasts when it comes to working. They're insane.
Looking at them work, you get the creative juices, you get that energy back.
Man, you want to go and just start working on something, even if it is your office work, man. I get pumped up. I'm like, fuck, let's do this, you know. It sounds like, okay, he's very content, he's not hungry. Yeah, I think that is what 30s brings you.
And you're okay with that?
I'm okay with it. It's a very dad energy. Sab take hai.
So you started this in 19, right? 2019.
We were called, it was me, Atmabodh, Tenzin and Vipin. We were 4, we called ourselves We the Movement. But then we saw the movement being formed and they also positioned themselves as WTM. We send mails to Faizan, who is their founder, co-founder and everything. We got no reply as such, and we were performing in 18-19 itself.
The Says on the Beat wala thing.
We started in 17-18-19 itself. In 19 we did a lot of gigs. We did in Gurgaon, we did in Varanasi through Reproduce Artist. You have heard of Lush Lata, the DJ? She's a very famous DJ now.
But Reproduce, I think I know
Rana Ghosh,
who also owns Pagal Hai Na, I think.
I'm not sure about that. But like, so 2020 where me and Atmabodh was like, you know what, we need to start something, because I'm like, the first pandemic went, like the first wave went, and when we moved to Jblock,
the actual Jblock
in Sarita Vihar, that was when bad scenes, dude. Second wave, friends, families are dying and this and that, and
that was
truly
bad.
Dismal times. And like, we just wanted a space where we just meet and sit and work, because अकेले isolation में काम करना इतना मुश्किल हो रहा था. मैं दिन में ना मैं 11 घंटे सो रहा था, because मेरे से जगह नहीं जा रहा है. कॉल आ रहा है, ऑक्सीजन चाहिए, वो जा रहा है. It's all the same pattern. Like those 10 days felt like it was years.
Especially in Delhi का तो
बहुत खराब सीन था. So we wanted a place where we sit and work, and me and Atmabodh and Suhail was also my flatmate then. He and our cat Joey, who's still there. He's a mascot for whatever I do. He's my son. And what happened is like, we would just sit in the drawing room. हम लोग table set किया था, and we would just work out of there. एंड धीरे धीरे करके फैज़ान आया, एल्केमी आए, ठीक है, और हम लोग ने मिल के पहला गाना बनाया. तो अब फैज़ान भी नया नहीं, लाइक ही इज़ ऑल्सो लाइक he sings and all, but he's newly getting into production with Alchemy.
I had no idea कि वो अगाही रही का भाई.
हाँ, अगाही से. तो through that, so in 2020 there was a time where 3 months I was completely locked up in my room in isolation with just me and Joey. I had reached the pits of low, you know, and that's when AKX, Agahi Rai, the whole DLT mob, back then it was not called DLT mob, and there was Pasha Bhai as well. I was in their group. It was called Pongal Drip group. It was like a WhatsApp group, iconic group, like really good. Like they kept me afloat. You know, the banters that would happen there would keep me afloat. Like even Karim Pucha was there, and there would be arguments. There would be like debates, discussion, gali galoj, but na dialogues hote the.
It alive.
Dialogues hote the, and that kept it alive. And the kind of friendship I formed with them, I finally met them in their land, which is in Bangalore right now. And
this is
abhi jo main gaya tha, haan, in and it's lovely, man. The way it felt like I have a family in Bangalore, you know. And there is.
How do you think the energy in Bangalore is different from Delhi?
यार inherently तो एक ही है. सब family जैसा feel है. सब एक दूसरे का ख्याल रख रहे हैं. You know, they are mindful of, you know, who is going through shit, who is isolating again, you know, to have that watchful eye on each other. अगर कोई कुछ ज़्यादा ही नशे कर रहा है तो उसको भी बोलना कि देखो भाई लाइन पे आओ भाई. उसके बाद जब कबीर आया, things just doubled up because that dude's work ethic is like untouchable. He just comes and he sits, makes 4 tracks a day. EP बन जाता है उसका एक दिन में यार. मतलब एक दिन में मतलब he has a skeleton ready. You know, next 3 days tape is done. And
I'm really excited for Side Hero.
Yeah, and he comes to me and he says he has this weird way of asking to work. Okay, he'll start with the negative. So he'll never come and say कि हम काम let's go to the studio and work. He'll say हम स्टूडियो में काम क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं? And then you're like, oh shit, हाँ यार क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं?
It makes sense.
It brings that urgency, and I fucking loved it. I loved it. We were a bit intimidated, but at the same time we're like, you know what? Fuck it, man. This is exciting. वो आया था 2 दिन के लिए, वो 12 दिन रह के गया. And he worked with
first time
Alchemy. Then there was no looking back after that, dude. Like after that, it was just like, it was just butter. After that, matlab I there's so much I have learned in production, in music, in my rapping, in my writing in English, although they write in Hindi. But I have never felt excluded. I have never felt like I was doing something different from them, because that space they had, they would hear my lyrics out. They would say, they would hear it. They would say, oh, this is a bar, this. Because when I write, I don't really care bars about anything. I just go seamlessly. But they tell me, you know, this is the bar. So you learn to keep account if I'm doing the
also
same flow all the time.
Also learn to collaborate with other
people. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, it was, this for me is university all over again, you know.
Yeah, it's like being in a music school 24/7.
Yes, 24/7. This for me is school again. And वही है, मतलब it's great. It's a great learning curve for me.
So even during COVID, जब ये start हुआ था, it was still like a risky thing. Like you already have like a job, you have a career, creative space में, in the advertising space, and then you are dabbling with music, and you have no idea कि ये चीज़
there's a risk, yeah. वो risk कभी भी है, bro. मतलब
so when you are in your 30s, क्या वो risk taking और like कम हो जाता है?
नहीं, I mean it only increases because there are more family responsibilities as well. And this thing I often don't talk about because it just reminds me of my and I panic. But the risk is immense because but again I trust the process. I have faith in the people I am with. I know that we'll blow up. I know that there are people already blowing up. There is Faizan who is like, there is Kabir, there is Waris, there is so many, there is Moon, who's a rock star. And I was like, fucking superstar energy, insane. The energy is insane. The kind of sensitivity and sensibility that they bring with them, Moon, is insane. You know, it's great to be
Especially
around.
there was a song in the Coco mixtape, I think, Quietly.
Yeah,
It's a very deep track. और किसी ने I don't know इतना ध्यान दिया उस
नहीं,
पे.
like it got good streams. And the other songs that are also coming is like, so for me it's like that risk bit gets eclipsed because, to be very honest, I have people that I have faith in. Like I have my partner who has been an unseen, behind the scene guardian angel for Jblock, you know, from like when we hit dire straits, we need money. There are a lot of people who help us with that. There are a lot of people who help us with resources. Like they are friends. They are well-wishers. They have nothing to do with music, but they have the faith in what Jblock is building. Like when we reach dire straits, there are times we've paid everything, but there is just the bijli ka bill left. And there are so many people who come and leave. We accommodate a lot of people.
Yeah.
The AC
Delhi
is
maybe,
on.
especially if people are coming to even
और छत पे घर है जो हमारा was in
the किशनगढ़ वाला.
किशनगढ़, वो तुम रह नहीं सकते, तुम रिकॉर्ड ही नहीं कर सकते without the AC. मतलब you can't sit and make beats.
What exactly is the business model of Jblock?
See,
or maybe like a collective?
See, I'll tell you. Like the thing is, we all want to have a hand in each other's careers. Jblock is an entity that will take, like, if Faizan has to make a EP, right? The EP is being made in Jblock. Everything around the EP, every communication around the EP, every press shot, everything will be done in Jblock. Right? And whatever. So that is, see, the thing is, when the thing blows up, it's, you know, it's the whole team behind the artist blowing up, right? The team, like the artists are its products.
Yeah. So each artist is a product.
Yeah, I am one.
Yeah.
I am one. Like the sound that has come from, like, I have started developing a sound of my own, and it's a product of Jblock.
So will it like function like a label in the future?
Maybe there is nothing like now. For now, it's a very horizontal collective, and our main thing of our profit right now is to keep it self-sustaining. You know, where
so
it's
whatever you earn, it goes back into the machine.
What we earn as Jblock, yes. So when we have a gig, we earn money. It goes in the upkeep. क्योंकि कहीं तो मतलब यहाँ तो गाने तो बन रहे इधर ही ना.
You need electricity.
Yeah. And when, yes. And now when, like you say now, Faizan goes on tour somewhere, there will be some people from the team to go with him, right? Kabir goes on tour, we'll have to make another team that also accompanies
I saw there were like script writers also coming.
Yeah, script writers for like our daily communication on, so like, you know, how to plan social media strategy. Saklain and Adam are like leading planning, management, strategy, planning of releases.
And all of these guys, they have their day jobs also?
Yeah, all of us.
It's like a secret organization जो साथ ही में बन रहा है.
Yeah, मतलब what we have also kept is like Jblock is also like a pool of resources. Say for example, it's also like what I see it is as a cooperative, like it's a co-op. Yeah. Like if I get some big money project, I'll give it to one from my team and make sure that if there is one in my one person in Jblock who doesn't have a job, who's looking for a job, so we make it a point that we look for a job for him. If he has to place to stay and crash and look for jobs, Jblock is there, where you don't even have to pay rent as such. You just here look for your job, get your job, and if you want to stay here, pay a part of the rent. That's it. वो तो तुमको ऐसे भी देना था ना. So the idea is to keep it as self-sustaining for now. And then when there is a big revenue chunk we are getting from somewhere, somebody has blown up, we'll plan it accordingly.
Now what to do with that money?
Yeah. The main thing is the house has to be kept. Otherwise, if the house is gone, of course, Jblock is not gone. Jblock is the people.
You still need that space.
Yes.
The creative space.
Yes.
It doesn't even depend on the actual physical space. It's like
bro अभी ना बहुत like देख अभी ना बहुत it's on a very when a thing starts I think it always starts with the tenets of communism.
Yeah.
And slowly it becomes, you know, like there was a man who told me once, like, if you are a capitalist in your 20s, you're a dumbass.
Yeah.
If you are a communist in your late 60s, you are a bigger dumbass. So it's just like I'm just being realistic here. So when it starts, it has to start with the space being saved and everybody putting it together, not thinking of immediate profits as such, because that's so short term, right? You just do it for now. There's this saying that it takes a village, you know, to there's often a saying called it takes a village to blah blah this that. So it's like when you want to do something by yourself and only you will be able to do it. You might be able to do it quick, but it's not
sustainable.
It won't have the longevity.
Yeah.
When you do it with your village, with your whatever you call it, your collective people, I don't want to use the word tribe, that goes the long way, because then it's not just dependent on you. And matlab, for me that has been like even the way I see relationships as, like, be it platonic or here I'm talking about romantic relationships. Like the whole motive of relationships is to learn out of it. Is what I have always believed in. You cannot learn alone. You cannot learn alone. The mind is an echo chamber. There's high chances you get trapped in your head. I do not support the idea of going out and finding yourself. How will you find yourself when you have to instead create yourself? कहीं में भी नहीं है ब्रो, हमारे अंदर में ही है. और वो हमारे से अंदर कौन निकालता है,
जहाँ पे वो तमाशा का हीरो it goes.
No, like even now I see, like even like I do not want to bring religion into it, but what the major, like the faith of the majority in this country, it philosophizes a certain detachment. Ki the sage packs his bag, leaves his family, leaves his friends, walks to Himalayas, and there in isolation finds himself.
He finds himself.
My thing is that truth can be found even when I am. आजकल क्या हो रहा है, आज जो फकीर है वो जाके ट्रुथ ढूंढने, वो अपना ट्रुथ बना रहा है सबके लिए, which is dangerous. So I do not believe in any kind of spiritual stance that does not hold community in it. If I have to find myself, I will not find myself in temples. I will not find myself in mountains. I will not be able to gauge where I stand. I'll only be able to gauge where I stand by looking at my people. What they have to tell me. भाई मैं बाहर में तो मैं देवता हूँ, पर अपने लोगों के साथ I am like an asshole. How is that? It don't make a difference, you know. So
it ends up happening more than often.
Yes. So this detachment कि जाके ढूंढना है वो चीज़ और अपने पास रखना है कि मतलब I don't like, so it's like you do not like humans but you like humanity. How can that be possible? I don't see a world where that can be possible. So yeah.
I have a follow-up question इसका, क्योंकि like even when you are working with a collective Jblock जैसा, it's like you collaborating with other people, उनका sound और वो, does it hamper your individual career like as an artist कि भाई, or what about me, like for example if you look at King or Honey Singh, there are one entity whatever. We want to be that or
no. I have, मतलब मैंने ना, to be very honest, मैंने कभी ये अकेला करने का सोचा ही नहीं था.
Music has always been like a collective
community thing for me.
Like a community thing.
अगर मैं साथ में नहीं करूँगा किसी के, मेरे को मन ही नहीं करेगा, मैं बोर हो जाऊँगा.
वो इसलिए कि वॉइस नोट तुमने रिकॉर्ड करके रख लिया वापस, बस कुछ नहीं होगा उसका.
मुझे and I have released songs अकेले के, मेरे को खुद मज़ा नहीं आया. You know, like
the worst part is when you try to like market it and say कि बहन चो सुनो.
Yeah. I just can't. For me, it is like even as a child, music for us was like a cultural night where
because
there are a lot of people on stage.
Gospel wala,
Yes. So for me, it's always been like to being. I would hate being on stage by myself. It's so isolating. Like it's not like I'm scared of it. I have all. Most of my life I've been on stage singing or doing something or the other, but like to do it alone is lonely, man.
Yeah.
Like I rather have the block with me and we just start dancing on stage, and I think that goes to the crowd, that relates to the like the same energy goes to the crowd because they see the whole village dancing on stage.
So after being in this space for like 10 years, more than 10 years up to the so-called whatever creative, working in like different disciplines.
Yeah.
Can anyone be creative? Or are you like born with it? Typical argument रहता है ना कि like you either have it or you don't.
I think a lot of it was what I was exposed to. I mean, I don't know if it was inherent or something, but a lot of things that music, I always music being heard, sung by someone or the other. Locality में कोई ना कोई गाता रहता हो, मतलब there would be someone singing. Like it's what I was exposed to as a child. So I don't think it's really, I don't know if it is gifted or something, man. It's too hard to put. But our subconscious also picks up so many things that kahan se aa gaya, I can't just say. But yeah, matlab there is an affinity towards creating something. I think that, I don't know, I think we are all with it. It's just that some of us choose to stay.
Yeah.
As kids, we used to all draw. Like some of my best friends at school who used to draw so good and not really drawing anymore. They are something else altogether. मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि ये इतना अच्छा आर्ट करता है.
ये तो फोड़ेगा आगे.
हाँ, ये तो फोड़ेगा आगे जाके. फिर आगे जाके कुछ कितने मुझे पता थे कि क्लासिकल गाना गाते थे ब्रो. हर प्राइज फर्स्ट जीतते थे वो लोग. भाई अभी कुछ और ही कर रहे हैं. And it's not like कि they were trained or something. They were just doing it because they were just naturally good at it.
Yeah.
You know.
And even I used to feel like almost betrayed कि अरे जो बहुत creative लोग थे, they don't pursue it आगे. Like they forget, especially like engineering colleges में there was this great singer या great musician, great guitarist, but they very conveniently like forgot all about.
Yeah, I have known people who used to write, and who at times still do. And it, to be very honest, I also don't see that everything should have a certain purpose, but it need not be. शायद उसको ये इतना करके उसको मजा आ रहा हो.
नहीं आ रहा होगा.
हाँ, मतलब yeah, it's his journey, you know. There is, because I am the one who is putting value to it, and it's also it's somewhere. Maybe he just likes it to do it as a hobby. Maybe I have made all my hobbies into things that make me money, and now I don't have any hobbies anymore. Maybe he's in a better space.
वो saying होती है ना कि the fastest way to ruin your whatever is to make it your
बस.
अभी like क्या आ रहा है फ्यूचर में Jblock के साथ?
Yeah, I will. अभी तो the new love marriage शादी banger.
Hi, what is it called? Love marriage haldi bangers. Love marriage haldi banger.
Yeah, there are so many other work of like there are so many individual EPs and mixtapes being made. I am making my own. It'll be like a 12 song mixtape.
When is it coming?
अभी तो काम चल रहा है bro. अभी artwork के साथ I will let out which time, and yeah.
तो इस साल म्यूजिक आने वाला है
काफी आने वाला है. अभी now we are thinking EPs, but again बीच में if we feel we can release something, we're releasing. And DLT Mob is releasing lots of tracks, insane tracks. I think that's a whole sound of its own.
DLT Mob में कौन है?
There is Circle Tone, there is Agahi, there is AKX, there is Come Curator. Have you heard Paras's tracks? Paras के जो कुछ verses हैं on the track. This is insane. And he has released so much, and then you realize there is so less you have heard of this, and there is so much more you want to hear from him. Insane tracks. You should check out DLT Mob. Yeah.
कुछ ऐसा जो हमारे श्रोता, हमारे viewers सुन सकते हैं अभी from anything that you are putting out. उसके बाद सब कुछ भी unreleased मसाला.
There is one just track. This I made it recently. Making sandcastles cause I got dreams, baby. Yeah, I bought a ticket. Bought a ticket for a getaway. This a journey, nobody's fine to say. We never stop, or we melt away. Don't want the sun to settle on me, ayy. Bought a ticket for a getaway. This a journey, nobody's fine to say. We never stop. I made the beat and wrote the song here. And because I was very happy that I bought a ticket to somewhere after a long time to travel. And then I went there, and on my way back, I recorded, I took Circles and Afif's verse in it. Yeah.
Pretty random, but
yeah, pretty random.
So when is this one releasing?
This is releasing with the tape.
With the tape.
Yeah,
okay. So this is part of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. कुछ आखिरी मैसेज हमारे whatever को क्या चल रहा है लोन कैट के दिमाग में? What is your actual name? Like what is
Siddharth.
Siddharth. Fuck, मैं भूल जाता हूँ.
It's a very common name though.
Yeah.
Like
I prefer Lonekat.
Yeah, there's so many Siddharths.
It's like every young 20s wala guy in a Bollywood movie is called Sid.
Siddharth,
Hey,
Sid.
Sid.
Oh, yeah.
That's the very Ranveer Kapoor.
So, dude, when
I wanted, like after watching this movie called Wake Up Sid, I was like, बहनचोद मेरा नाम Sid क्यों नहीं है?
Bro,
Sid is the perfect.
Thank God नहीं था, because everybody, अरे Sid, oh wake up Sid, away. After a point, it's just like too much repetition. I mean, I think I had a very good time coming here and talking with you, man. And I was looking forward to this, and I feel good. Like each time I don't normally do this.
Yeah. For me, it was a very different conversation. Like I had no idea कि यहाँ पे जाएंगे हम जहाँ पे हम गए.
Like I normally, मतलब मैं इतना ही बात करता हूँ. But this didn't feel like as such that we were being recorded
me,
or like
even for something like podcasting, it doesn't come like talking and being that host doesn't come naturally to me. Because introverts,
like when you say like fake, on, it never felt fake.
Yeah,
it never felt like it was a kind of like I'm here to speak.
Namaskar, host.
Yeah. So
कैसा लग रहा है?
I love it, man. I love it. I think.
It's very
we have never sat and even chatted.
It's very different. क्या ये World War 3? कुछ तो ऐसे real worthy shit देख जाओ. Alright, thank you, Lonekat. This was something.
Thank you so much.
Let's end this. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I bought a ticket. Bought a ticket for a getaway. This a journey, nobody's fine to say.